we'll get started. So, loud. Right, perfect. Welcome to this session, Managing Team Room Systems, where to do what. But let's out by saying a big thanks for us. Some of them actually stuff you, like audio code. Yeah. So if you haven't had the chance to go out and open this because they're part of this one. So this happened. So just a short agenda, and this is definitely not my PowerPoint. It looks like that with all topics, but in basic, we're going to talk about what is being built, what does Microsoft offer the key platform for managing, and then talk about what it doesn't. So a little introduction about me. It's Carsten Meilback, and as you probably can hear, in native American, but that sounds wrong, but I'm not. I'm from Europe. Just, sorry about that. Bear with me. And I mean, if I'm talking too fast, too slow, if I'm pronouncing something wrong, just let me know, and I'll go up and think. But yeah, I'm a consultant and have working with Microsoft for years and years. I have a background and changed it into meeting room as well. Before cool, everybody else think, hey, meeting that's the new black. I'm working pretty much close to all the different vendors. What can I say? I'm a family guy. We have a couple of horses. Just love teams. This is my home lab. I was so lucky that I was tearing down a building and building everything up from the ground, fork in the floor, and make everything to make the perfect playground. All cabling done in the walls, so on. I make everybody's dream for a playground. And as you can see, it's a little different, but they are pretty much small. Well, that's my background. The QR code, not that I'm trying to push you to follow me on LinkedIn, but I am trying to do a weekly or bi-weekly video Friday about something better. Voice, Mesh. I'm also MVP in Microsoft Mesh based. That's second love I have for that. But yeah, that's me. This is much more fun if we have a dialogue. I'm trying to get the agenda going, but I mean, more fun. Any question, just let me know, and back and forth. And again, there are no stupid questions. So instead of, as I said, with my PowerPoint, we're trying not to do this. A lot of this one is a demo where I'm the different platforms and so on. Yeah, the PowerPoint will be available afterwards, but you'll probably see that with downloading because pretty much all of it is that it's demo ones. But let's get going. What is a meeting? Let's start by defining that. Normally traditional, you see this table with 2, 4, 10, 20 seats in it, and camera and monitor, and there are some speakers. But meeting room today is so much more, especially collaborative rooms and so on. And one thing I find really funny is that when I'm out with customers, it's to find out where they use. Is there somewhere they haven't thought about that you put in an NTR of some kind, like the weekly stand-up meeting, and someone honor will put up an NTR system, remote or hybrid workers can join in. So yeah, it's much more in it. Also, just the strengths. Not going to talk about that. Just going to mention that it's very important that the way that using meeting today, so we don't just have this square table, but we can have the triangle, half circles, and so on. Microsoft is really awesome when they are showing some stuff. There are a lot of thought about get hold of your Microsoft representative and say, hey, we would like to talk with some of your in meeting room people, because they actually have constituents that are only looking how do we make how do we make the room more functional, different tables, background, and so on. So really interesting. But yeah, that's a meeting room, and more mute boxes like that one. Don't know over here, but that's coming really crazy. That's a lot of people, those small basic 2 or 4 people in and completely isolated. I see a lot of them without any NPI in it. Why? It makes perfect sense that you also add that one in as well. So if we have any of those, try to small but fast. One thing I forgot to mention, very important with this one, I'm independent consultant, so I don't sell any hardware. I'm not trying to say, hey, go with the Cisco Iron 2 and more. I don't do any hardware sales at all. Microsoft is the only partner that I object. I have a very good work relationship with all manufacturers, but this is my thoughts. There are no back thought about it. Stuff like when I'm leaving, I get the 10% cutback or something like that for talking about it. So this is my real, true, honest feeling about it. Let's just have that one clear. But, so what do we want from a management system? I think that's the most important question. Sometimes I get too late up to customers already bought or final solution, try to get it work. The best thing is if you're coming before, like narrow down and say, what is it actually? What I don't care about a camera with 2 or 20 megapixels. I don't care about how many microphones. Right now, we just, what do we want? How should the rollout process be? How should management secondary be? And this is where it begins to be interesting. Because historically, we have done a lot of stuff on the manufacturer stuff. Well, to be honest, according so I have to be careful what I'm saying, but Microsoft have had some limited functionalities that we can push out, but that is really changed now. So what do we want for deployment? Well, zero touch. That will be the best if we can just let the AV integrator come, will up the equipment, put on one to make sure that everything is level, cable it up, power on, and everything is right. That is actually doable today. Yeah, right. So 2 seconds about not that much. Android, we still have some, but we still want as close to zero touch installation. So we don't want the AV integrator to do anything. He's not allowed to use any passwords. So that's where it makes sense to, in fact, because Microsoft don't have a plan to do anything with provision because they're scaling their state, whatever, and they don't have a know that. But that's what I'm saying. We are using in fact, we'll go more deep to that. And then we want security. Again, don't want anything here or like I was saying, username and password. Nobody should know that unless it's some of our own trusted IT guys. So watch something about what's that. And the next thing is, we all know that when we buy a physical device, it might be produced 6 months ago, firmware, everything might be old, so on. We don't want to sit with that. How can we start up a process for that one? Again, the manufacturers have to put that. If we should have a chat about that one, my honest opinion is that for rolling out the device, manufactured every day, don't use manufacture everything. They have some pretty okay tools now where it operates. And a very important difference is that when a manufacturer is releasing a firmware, then it's not tested by mine. This session in this room afterwards, if you have the chance, stay and listen to Alexander Microsoft talking about how to pre-test and all that. Microsoft are doing a lot of stuff with that firmware, and then we, qualify it, and then we see it with. So it's a Microsoft approved one. So and again, another thing is that the teams that are put into manufacturing firmware are not allowed to be, I think it's 3 months or something. They're not, again, we'll have the problem with one news firmware news. Again, Teams app is one that we are kind of focusing about. So why not have that? And the good thing is that, let's say that we have a firmware that's bad. It had happened. I don't think there's any manufacturers out there that has created a firmware without any errors in it. That's just the way it is. Then we still have the manufacturer's management platform events that we can roll out emergency firmware. And again, we want easy mounting. It should be very easy. I don't know if you've seen all, but I think it was 6 months ago, Microsoft made a certification for integrators and factors that you should be able to roll out the system. Rollout was cabling, mounting, everything that happens in applications. That my opinion is that kind of on thing if we're ready set going into some of this like ours and don't count on AV integrators to be able to do what our from starts. But they're trying to do something, trying to make process so that it's easy. That's when we are rolling out. The next thing is that our second day hand, our day-to-day hand. What do we want from that? Well, we want easy configuration. We're changing anything to just roll out. Shouldn't be any problem. We shouldn't go down and have to go to each device. So, hey, we have to roll it out and overnight, something like that. And we want to change it. Let's say, lovely Microsoft, keep on development. Else, how do we roll that? We don't want something where we have to go out again the device. So you roll up. Luckily for us, Microsoft have then apps. We can roll out. We'll later show you that we have different rings and decide which room are being rolled out with room firmware, how it's also roll it. So not like, hey, found all our 5,000 meetings using on without really having testing and making documentation. Firmware application again, that's something running again, saying things, we have some ways to do that. And then we want an overview of use that right now, that's the biggest lack in mind. There are some overview, there's some monitoring, show some of it, but again, that's where the manufacturers are really doing a great job. Sadly, a lot of the manufacturers are having license options, so have this free of charge tool, but if we want some intelligence for that cost, some of them are bundling that license together with warranties of 3 or 5 years warranty to get that license pretty much now. But yeah, notification and errors and other problems. And let's face it, you guys are not sitting and you can say, hey, you just not team, we don't do it other than that all day. Yes. So we want to be notified problems, something that's not working yet. Again, manufacturers have everything except the Teams app, and Mike's around have everything. Teams app all around. And maybe we should here just so everybody knows that on an Android device, there's a lot of application in it, but we are pretty much talking about laptop 2. We have the firmware where the manufacturers are having all the drivers and the operation system, all that stuff. And then we have Microsoft providing and documentation that comes out of that. So that's pretty much. Any questions or comments on Mantis? Am I wrong, or are you want to add more? Or those are the pains that we probably run into every day, and yeah. So yeah, I forgot to ask all of you guys. I'm running some kind of Teams rules today. Oh, Zoom. Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And there's one reason why I don't have it is because there are no solution for that. I wish there was, and every time we have to meet with product groups and so, this is some stuff that we're saying, hey, we want one. And they come back and say, hey, sure, how should we manage it? We have Logitech devices, we have Yealink, we have HP, whatever. How do you want us to handle it? It's like, well, we're the software guys, fix. So, and that's kind of a lot of stuff. But that would be awesome. But yeah, I agree. I don't have it because there's no way we can fix that today. We are getting closer and closer, but yeah, we still have to use the ports. An announcement, I think it was in Carsten Meilback, Microsoft moving all device stuff from Teams admin center down to port our demo board. But our demo as it is now, and then about probably what's going. I don't know the speed and so on, but they announced it, so it's something that will begin rolled out that we can. Then we have the Microsoft option, and I think I have mentioned both of the options that Microsoft is providing. We have the Team Center with the old one that we had years and years. It's free for all. We sign a 14 licenses, and Teams Admin Center is built up like stuff that you don't have license for, it's not showing. So if you don't have any Teams room license, then you don't see that part. They can buy one. This is where you're pretty much doing Center. So we can do everything with Teams. The biggest problem here is that we still have differentiated role, but you have access into where everything is. Regular meet might need admin for doing functions. So you get too wide of access. If you're a small company, it's okay. I mean, you trust the people and so on. But if you have somebody that's responsible for that part of the team, somebody that one, the ABAC role is different. I don't know if any of you was in James Stark's session today or yesterday, but else see that afterwards everything's recorded. But he's talking about some of the stuff, and he has a very important job is to figure out how to make roles that Microsoft aware of it, talking about it, and working heavily aware of it. But I think that's the biggest one. Then we have Teams Pro Management, and my favorite. Historically, it was we have some licenses, and we had a premium where Microsoft were handling everything. We as a customer partner just license, quick and so on. Microsoft created that Pro portal for management. Then when we got the different licenses, this Basic and Pro, they got released to begin with. And that management portal just skyrocketed with changes. That was quite easy. Today, it's still limited on Android device. It monitor a lot of stuff. You can do some push out of the configuration profile. But if you have Windows device, it's super platform. It's just very bad. Just a short note on Pro license or room license. Anyone using Basic? Good. I'm really pleased that don't ever go with Basic. And I'm not Microsoft representative, I can say it. The Basic is the free one. And without talking about any room limitation, let's just start with security. You just have the Teams room and nothing else, which means you're not allowed to use Teams room, you're not allowed to use access, you're not allowed to use any of this. So you're creating a room, direct access, your Teams to your organization without any security in front of that. I haven't met any security department say, hey, that's a great idea, let's go with that. And that's without talking about any of the limitations. You can only have one monitoring panel outside and not have all the intelligent functions. So Basic, I know why Microsoft have it. That needs to be a check mark. Some of the other vendors has a free one, but don't go there. That's nothing good comes out. Then any question with that? Interrupt. I'm European. I'm not that polite. Just go ahead, and I don't feel offended with that one. But let's start with a demo of being a second vendor. Admin Teams Microsoft Common, and then you have your rights and so on. Where, as I was saying, we have everything in here. This is my playground. So everything you see here, don't take that as best practice. This is me playing around. A lot of the things I say, hey, don't do that, and that basic license and everything else. But again, it's my playground. So we have the Teams devices that we're working on down here, and we have the Windows 1 as it is today. I would 110% recommend don't play around it. Admin Center, it's so much more fun. But we have the different options here. We have overview, licensing, healthy, what is working, what is not, what fine in, what device it is, some names and so on. We have some offline that is nice ones. Is when is the last time that device signed in? Here, so we can historically see that. Again, I'm just a poor consultant, so you'll probably see that I'm working with 3 or 4 licenses that you'll see. same room we decided with devices, both Windows and production. That's my mess. That never how to look your production because I'm one device. Yeah. When we go in here, that one town, for example, we have option to is everything that's connected, healthy and so on. So that's all the USB on that you get it. We have health status on it. Luckily, I hope everything's here. Yeah, good. I'll get a little more deeper that in the room. Got some details about this device, IP address, and so on, host line. But again, both access that one from the Pro portal. Activity, awesome. We will have a list of everything here that this new thing. Click down. This is not about finding out if there was a call or something like that. There's a lot of other cool sessions about that. But in here, you can see the meeting room, and yeah, this is in my lab, so it's 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I try to join it with more just real life scenarios on it, but we can drill down and see, hey, was the call good or bad? So one of your users are complaining about our X, and we had bad sound about that. And again, historical what's going on with the updates. More interesting here is the Android devices. And the Android devices, again, they're signing. We have a list of different stuff here. You can see if they're online, offline, and so on. But most important is we have the updates link here. And one, we can set both the updates here in Team Admin Center, in Pro Portal, and sadly, they're not one-to-one. One we have here in Teams Admin Center, predefined by Microsoft. Once we have in Pro Portal, we can define extra rings. But pretty much what I normally do is that we have update, have the different ones here, validation. That will be the first Microsoft release firmware in the app. It will also update within some days. It's 1 to 4 days. I'm not having this now, so I cannot. But I think it's 1 to 4, 1 to 7 days. If we have made and maintained the Microsoft release of firmware, it's not been done right away. It looks in and say, hey, I'm in validation mode. I'll activate this one with 1 to 7 days. When I have a maintenance, I'll show where we can. So have a couple of rooms close to the IT department, that one, so you can just follow up on what's going on. So if something bad happens, let's say that the manufacturer that firmware or ASP, when that one's coming, then we stop everything. Then we have general one. That's the one that's, should be in what's on our meeting. And define who that's the board rules, something like that. What's very important that it works. It doesn't matter that you function what you do stuff. The workability is more important. And we set up, so put them around whenever you want. Again, we can see IP addresses, we can see configuration. Some of the things that I really love here is that Microsoft put up the configuration. Anyone using configuration profile today? Awesome. But configuration profile is that, as I was saying, that we want our management done with Microsoft. Here we create a profile, we can make whatever profile we want and assign devices, and we put in all the stuff that we want. I'll go through one of that. Last time I did a test background, because this is over here where we are pushing out background for Android devices. If everybody's not aware of it, for some time ago, Microsoft only made customized backgrounds for Android devices, so we can load up a file and want to say, why do we need configuration profile for that? Again, security, everything's built in security. Cannot have an Android device where we're talking with the guys about how close it is, nobody can access it. By the way, upload a file. That's not going to happen. That's why we're uploading the file to Microsoft, transferring that without devices. Some control about file transfer the device that we are in. In here, the configuration profiles are a little different, but it's the same if we put them to Android MTR, Android phone, panel that's outside. Some of the information, of course, are referring to the device, but it's the same process. Like you have any Teams phones, it will be the same. In here, we set device log, how we want to share, how we do time, and so on, and what formats and so on. Again, it makes sense to have EMEA, Denmark, America, US, and so on, because we are different, or UK, just Denmark and UK, that different way. So we can set all that up, what format, and then we have this maintenance windows that I was talking about. So when Microsoft are releasing a firmware, we have to ring and say, hey, now it's available for you guys. Then the device say, yeah, I'm ready, but I'll just go in and check and say, when do I have a maintenance? This one is actually not global again. That normally I will put it in the start of the day, so don't do something in between, because that could be, I haven't heard about it, but that could theoretically be something about 2 dates and something it does. So normally I started from quarter after midnight or something like that, and a couple of hours ahead. And then we have which day. And again, this is my lab, so I just want it as fast as possible, but it'll make sense for you guys to make all the working days, say, yeah, do that over the weekend, or even better, we go in and say, we do that on Saturday because we have a day, depending on how. Then we have this daily restart, and that has been a big battle. We have historically wanted the manufacturer to do something about it, because in the beginning, we had some stability problems with it. One would mean that, hey, it's an Android device, you just plug in, run for 500 days flat. IT doesn't. So different manufacturers have fixed that on different ways. I love the way that we can do it in the profiles. It doesn't matter, Logitech, Poly device, whatever, you put it in. One thing to be aware of is that whether you your maintenance windows and you restart, not overlap. I think it is fixed now that you cannot do it, but in the beginning, that's starting. On it. How should we do that? Should we do that? I mean, this is these. Can't remember the stats, but when the Windows was a lot of things that Microsoft knew, you have the same. Right. Cool. Any question? I'm just bringing just anything. We can enable touch. This one, I'm a little sad. There's probably a very good reason why, but normally when we had an Android device and we plug devices in, it will also detect 1 or 2 monitors. Right now we define it, so, and as it is for now, so let's say that we have one monitor set up. If we have enabled it for 2, there'll be the blue bar in the top thing, monitor, where before that was the hardware. There's probably a deeper meaning. One thing I love here that's also come this email address. So you know when somebody's saying bad call, I want to send feedback and so on. People send Microsoft, which is great, but now we have the option to also add a shared IT mailbox, whatever the users are doing, come to that box back. So it actually begins to make sense now that users are component conflict. We will get notified. We can put the same, not in a erased profile, but in a erasing file in CRs, Windows, we can do the same. So this is a functionality book. Not that fun. Then we have everything we can set up how we want the meeting and so on. This is not a walkthrough that. This is, test it out, find out which profile makes sense, configure it up. Here's a custom background. Again, I'm not a graphical person, so it's, hey, my logo and black screen, but you can do it much more fun. One thing that's very important here is that go into a Learn article, Google Android or Windows custom background. Microsoft created perfect article where they're showing where they're putting all that stuff, like QR code, that one, where it says, where's the calendar, where's time, and everything like that, so you don't anything. That so it makes it much easier for you guys to create a background that actually works. We have this nice logo of the company up, so put it in, and we can see everything is right up here with the QR code or the time, like that. Like that. So spend 2 seconds with that one. We can define background for the monitor, for the controller, for the green server. We have to be green, so everything has to be as low power as possible. Contrast. Again, we have hours here, working hours, Monday to Friday. So it'll just not power down, but it will, slow down the power and make green saver and so on and work fast. We have all this with the QR codes. Everyone is aware that we have this QR code immediately coming up. Just a clarification, if you have panels outside. Also a QR code. Those two QR code are not this. People think that. So that one outside, we are outside. We're not in a trusted area. So that's only you, tenant users, who do that. Come as an external, fine. They're just not allowed. Super function. Right now, the one we have in here in the room, we join in, everybody can use that. So let's say I can take phone or whatever, start meeting colleagues on because I'm in trusted. So that's the difference with the QR code. If none of you guys want that one, there is a slide where it was still QR code able to disable it. I'm a big fan of it. Keep it on, but yeah. And then you can automatically accept them, or do you have to go up to the controller or the touch? Yeah. A lot of IP settings don't do that from device side. The network guys to do that. And again, if you're doing static, make sure they have the role. But yeah, DHCP label. One thing is here is the password. That's the password that when you're going in settings, admin or admin owner, that's the password that appears on it. And again, network port. I don't think she Sky devices which is connected, but if it is, at the option, this is more related to I don't know if there's any manufacturer that I have. So good. When we have that profile, we'll just go roles, just this, and keep one there. Online, line configuration, just switch or whatever it was. Okay, cool. Just click on that one and click apply, and then we send it out in this cloud, which means that when you save, not right away, it's like everything else, just find out if you're not stopped it out. So bear in mind, check a copy or wait tomorrow, that roll it out, and come next morning. Fine in the end. So it will not interrupt. Yeah, perfect. Verification, it will not interrupt the lead. Somebody's using device you're pushing out profile. It not changes, but not doing big person. Good. That's the management. We have the same for the panels out here. Same information, same everything else you can. Of course, the profiler then just related to how white people the panels there. Any questions? Yeah. No. Rockton? Yeah. Yeah, then there's upgrade, and we can see luckily have some non-urgent coming in here. We'll have the option in here. If we don't follow the automatic rollout, we can click on and say, hey, we want to update this. And here there's update version for Teams. Fine, and click that one and say update it, start and update right. Again, if the device is working or meeting, if not do it within a start moment, go down, download the firmware, update and install the reach. Or we can set schedule one. Not more than you have the list here. What the problem is, this is not an alert because it's just stating that there are new available software, but they will be upgrading during that ring general validation, whatever you have. So yeah, I know exactly where I'm coming from, but that's the thought about it. So yeah. Yes. Yeah. It is. I think it came out right away. We got this much. Maybe a couple. Actually, I think it was 2 weeks after. but we can see it in here. I'll create one here. So Windows are doing it completely different way. They're working with the type setting itself. Yeah, historic. Yeah. I don't know if it's rolled out public yet, but you'll be able to push type XML files out from full portal out to Windows there. I don't know if you look at that public. We have a Microsoft guy sitting there. That's the guy that had the next session that was talking about stay in the room and hear about the preview. But yeah, blame it on him. But yeah, we can do it in here. And just don't be frustrated. You can see this is a terrible picture. I had to play around with it, and I keep on getting the files not big enough. When it's a background, normally have the size is too big. Yeah, so I was just putting in copying paste whatever I just had. So again, I'm not a designer, but it's make sure that there's and when you upload it, it will tell you about some designs. The Learn document that's showing everything where we start. But yeah, that's what we see. Any questions on Team Admin Center? So with that time, yeah. Well, yeah. That's why we have the maintenance, and that's why we do this. I mean, I would never do a manual update. I have a problem. Just that it live its own server and can do what it does. I would only do a manual upgrade if I was having a problem. I would say, hey, I cannot make station are doing. I want to. Again, then you can do an upgrade and you can do automatic upgrade on it, and you can do that in your maintenance windows that will do this update for whatever maintenance windows. So you will start a manual update, but it will be updated on behalf of that maintenance. Good. Sorry. This one is the new place to do everything with. Love it. The biggest problem is to get information about what it's like, what's coming out. If you go in and say, hey, what's new about Teams? We get 2,000 pages of different stuff coming in and so on, apps, and I don't care about that. In here, we have everything that's created to see whatever makes sense. So, and a little heads up, we have this open office hours, and you are in the right time zone, so you don't have to stay up long. Microsoft will actually create this work every Wednesday from 9 to 10 times. Calculate tells you probably better than I am to that. But we can join in the Teams meeting. It's a Microsoft folk sitting and thinking at but it's not that, but they're listening in to say, okay, what kind of request we have? Are you running into problems that they will fix? And you find the meeting ID up here, question mark, and regular Teams. I will run through fast here again, respecting time. I just want to start by AOSP. Everyone is aware that Microsoft helps with change on authentication rules. Android. It is very important that you're aware of that one. We used to use Android administrator or device administrator. Google has shut down on parts of that one. Yes, now we use AOSP. You need to go in and show create profile. Again, this is my demo lab, so it's very easy. Devices. Yep. Oh, yeah. Platform. We are talking about Android. With enrollment. We have SP in here, and it's user associated device. That's how it is. We'll do a create a policy, give it a name, and enable this one and next. Unless you have don't do this in your production route, you know what you're doing. But it's that simple. It's that just that policy. Of course, you make sure that you're using your speech and else. Any question on it? We have a lady sitting at the back that had a great session about that. So for that, I want to ask afterwards. But it's very important because what happens is that the new firmware are included DSP. So company portal is not there. We have authenticator and own portal, and the device will not sign in unless we have created this. Right now, as it is, firmware is not automatically roll out. You have to go and say it. there's box come up saying, hey, are you sure? Have you prepared your environment for AOT? And if you haven't, then go do that. And a link to a very simple Microsoft Learn article. So it is simple as doing here. Further ahead, if you don't do anything, it will automatically firmware update, AOT firmware devices, and configure. Walk in Monday morning to that, but sign in. Was that the short version? Yeah. It starts all depending what manufacturer and so on they're rolling out the different units and so on. But yeah, very important. If you haven't looked into AOSP, go home and do it because it will affect you. But back to this one, we have incidents. So you see the ones you're looking, we don't have the hardware, but we will have a lot of incidents where we have a list of all the rooms, what's the problem. And again, I've talked about security and how important everything is. And I love this one. Again, this is my sandbox. All my rooms are saying we have a warning, default credential. One thing I do every time I get out to a customer with a Windows MT, I go over and start saying admin and SD, and in 5%, I get access to that device. I get access to network that is connected. I have a Windows PC. So again, this is brutal. Make sure that you don't have people. There's a lot of ways we can do it. Autopilot, best way of doing it. Roll out all your devices, do labs, change the password, so on your zero provisioning and the devices. But yeah, that's a different story. Again, this is my playground, so it's much easier. That's when I'm boring out the equipment and so on. But you shouldn't have any here. Then we have all the other ones with hardware and so on. This is much more Windows-based than this is for the moment. So we are looking into if a microphone is not working, camera and so on. Android, we don't have the same options for now, but coming soon. Yeah, and we click on whatever console here, and we get a nice thing. Every time we have one of those, we get an email. And don't use your person. That I do that. I get scanned every time at power of a system. I get an email saying that, hey, we have a problem. But little time after saying we still have a problem. And when I power it on again, hey, the problem. But you can say what kind of level of information you have. If you are running ServiceNow, you can get that into the ServiceNow tickets. And why do I get 2 error warnings? Well, again, it's based on some of the learning that Microsoft did on the NGR. So let's say that we have a room where the camera is not working on Windows, but the devices it's trying to reboot the USB port, try to do some active error correction itself. And if whatever is go, give up and say after a couple of hours to say, hey, I need. That's why we have 2 steps alerting. Or it could be that we're just rebooting and don't do more than that, but it does not. Well, hey, again, ServiceNow, you can push all those notifications. In here we have rooms. Again, this is my playground. We see a lot of stuff, what's monitored, what's healthy, and so on. We can take, for example, meeting room here. We have some of the information that we had in Teams room. So again, Microsoft pushing more and more over here. We have settings. So instead of have to go down, swipe settings on device physically, I can do everything here that I can do in the touch control on Windows. Whatever I want, enable it, disable it, whatever. That's really cool. We have a lot of events, update. We can group them out. We have call history. Cool thing about call history here is that it is anonymized. You don't see the same amount of data. We see the data that we want, network information, all that stuff that makes sense. I don't care if it's Peter and Lotte that made call. They're like just straight out of. I can see that user wanting you to do, but for your integrator or for your apartment, but nicer that you can see the stuff. And then a very cool thing that's coming here is that you have the option to start a remote session. And cross my fingers, there's a long way to Denmark, but it's doable. I have MGI Windows running in my lab. Open it up here on. Problem with internet. Good. All perfect. We are running here. As you can see, there's a red lining around here. So when we do a remote test, on the other end, we'll also have a red line around. So we don't do knock saying, hey, yeah. if the device I need cannot make session. I know some of the other manufacturers, like I think it's 8P, coming up and saying, hey, we are here, and I think it's passed down. That, but it will get to the system. One important thing is here as well is that if you start a meeting, because you can set it as a you only, or you can set it as a text. If I start a meeting now, the device start a meeting. If I lost connectivity, I cannot go back, and luckily I can both restart on it, get into it. Hopefully I've configured my room that it's the only one in the meeting, slide out it, and it'll be idle again. But if I lose the connection now, I cannot make a new set. We have everything else we can configure here. We have the option to go in and see if it's a 1 or 2 display. We'll have 1 or 2, and you can see everything here. I hope okay. It's I think it's 8 hours ahead, so that's why also office. But yeah, we can see everything here on it. And back and the call. Oh, that goes. No. Doesn't matter. Don't push this down. And that's what the back clicking. After a time, I will come back just for. Oh, does that my internet died? Oh. That's the very difficult testing. One. I'll see if I can. Yeah, sorry. So if you get a phone call from the company, let's blame me. Just see if I can wear. That's typical. Probably not too expensive. Don't give you stuff. I didn't shut down my. This might take a little longer. That's on a bad connection. But yeah, we have the rooms here. If we go in and take Android, for example, on account here, there's a little limitation. We'll see some of the information. We don't have the settings. We can read the settings. That's pretty much what we can do on it. But we will option. Oh, well, it's that like thing about. Yeah, I've been playing around with some. We have some more role where we can split out everything here. In here, you will have the option to put on a configuration profile. Remember that one I created in the admin center? I did that one in here. So me as an owner of Teams, I can create a Teams admin center. I can delegate it out to a partner or same company that has limited access, that only have access to here, and they can apply that configuration profile to devices directly. Yeah. That could be one of the options that played without me saying. So, but yeah, the thought have been there, and we have also suggested, does it make sense? We have a lot of, and they can see what manufacturers that know, hey, it's a poly device, it's linked to working. Hey, why isn't it? It's yeah. Again, we can group them together. For time matter, I will just hurry down. There's a lot of stuff that we're missing, but one thing I really love here is that the resource account that we have, the meeting room, an exchange account, and we normally battle with exchange people, with upright, delete comments, leave us alone, and all that. If I have the right access to exchange as well, I can go in one of the settings here, and I can actually see how I set up exchange for it. If I have the right access, I can say, hey, apply, and apply recommend. That's the right recommend settings without. If you are unaware what the different sliders are, Microsoft have done a really great job saying what going on with slides back and forth. What is the problem with it? Delete comment, that is the normal one that's default on, and delete the body in it. And of course, we have a problem with one-touch join because they are looking down and see the Zoom or the WebEx invite and so on, and that's been deleted. So really awesome that we can go in and see stuff here. This is also where we can work with one-time password that are coming. Sadly, that'll be in a different rollout session. This is management, but we will have the option to give the AV integrator a one-touch password, so you sign in with that one instead of having to use it. Then we have autopilot, and I know we're saying we're not going to talk about it, but this is so freaking awesome. We all know that if we are running a Windows up, some people are waiting a couple of days because it's doing the upgrade process at 2 o'clock. Somebody are trying to do a Windows update with wrong or store updates or scripts. So this is a Windows PC. You can add the hash value into autopilot, set up a autopilot profile that might find. We put a tag on them saying this is minus. Then it'll be listed in here. We'll have the option to put an account together with the system. So those meeting rooms I have go in. We just plug in the device or go out. It'll do all the updates and get the right Windows version and get everything you want. Configure out, firmware update, whatever that's on the rollout. And it'll also update the Teams app and sign with that one. And we can do it without any of us know the password. That is the most secure we're rolling out. But has somewhere forgotten, put out, or we can say we want that because it's out there. Then that rollout process, say that find Microsoft just giving a CSV file with password because somewhere else that would say. But it is really easy. I don't know if you want to test it, go in and set everything up, go into a Windows device, saying restarts, whatever, delete everything, start up and roll out. It takes that you can swap it. So yeah, just a very easy way of doing that. We have in setting everything ServiceNow. Many of you guys are doing that. I'm not a ServiceNow guy, but in here we can pick all the ServiceNow things, so it will reporting now. We have tickets. Any questions now? Know what? I had decided that if somebody was coming with a question I had no clue about, you will get a logic deck. So I don't know about that one. Normally I'll sign them in a different one. I don't think multi-tenant is supported on it, so it's 2 different accounts to sign in. Or if you're talking about multi-tenant for a device, you can only have hash value 1 tenant. You cannot have them 2. So you're trying to put in a hash value for a device in tenant 2 and have tenant 1. Just say, hey. Yeah. So I just last week did a migration. Sorry, I see where we were taking 50 meeting rooms from tenant 1 to tenant 2. So we just take one hash, hardware hashes from tenant 1, implemented, deleted them in tenant 1, implemented in tenant 2, did a reset of the devices and everything running up. And yeah, and one man was using less than a week and all 50 rooms are running. Yeah, there's a different one. Take it afterwards. There's an option where you can invite other partners in, so you can have multiple customers where you have access into it. So that part of multi-tenant, it's not the way that Microsoft has seen multi-tenant, just have access from this portal into different customers. Any other questions? It was 4 minutes for talking about Windows. Not a problem. It's not good. One thing that I'm really fond of is with zero touch provision. Not all partners having it, but some are having. Holly is one of them that they are really number one line of rolling out in zero boost. They have the DHCP option where we can put in a different scope. We can make a scope option that are pointing to their solution. Yealing are also rolling out. They can do that. They are doing it in a little different way out of the box. They are phoning home where we are selling HP. Contact this one. Some security people like that devices phoning home via check. But you can also do that option. I know that Logitech don't have the solution now, but the last thing I've heard that I'm allowed to say that coming very soon option. Right now, you have to get a code in the sync, and you have to put that one. We don't want that. Just be automated. Like here in PolyLens, if Studio X bar is in, when they get the IP address and so on, it will get the option 161 that are pointing to Lens, and then Lens will do all the configuring, saying, hey, you need team mode, you need to have this firmware, you need to have whatever we are set up on it. So the integrator just plug it in, give it power and Ethernet, and does all it has to do. And then we just get the sign-in code where we do the. So this is the far best way. Some of the things smaller vendors are not having this one, but this is something where when I discuss customers, think it's very important because you save a lot of time for rolling out here. You don't have to go in and set or do something like that. Just need to plug it. Hey, you got this process. Again, everybody, when I talk with them offline, I say, great, we're working. But yeah, HP, Poly, same one, scaling, Logitech are working hardly on it, like some of the native ones. PolyLens, yeah, again, that just remember there are two things when Lens does a desktop app where you get all headset and whatever working in, it's the cloud management that needs, and we can do a lot of rules. And, yeah, let's on pretty much all of them. We can, make sites, we can make building, whatever set coming in and doing that. I know that I was going to talk a lot about that. Sorry, that's the wrong link. DM it now. But the same one, we can do that with IP addresses on the register, so we get automate a lot of stuff here. The conclusion with this one is pretty much that we still need the manufacturer's order for provisioning, for doing some stuff where Microsoft cannot do it. But right now we can do probably 85%, like 5%, or if you go that high, of all our everyday tasks physically erased. Important because if we Google, a lot of people are complaining about why I can't do that. A lot is happening, and a lot will happen. It's about making this one more easy, guys. We will probably never hit that single pane of glass. I would love that one. Probably not going to happen. Again, the idea of can work on and so on, but yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. And if you haven't played around with Pro Border, do that. Yeah, and also make those rules where you have to preview and so on. Yeah, the next session is about how you can go ahead and set up your preview. So once we have validation, we can go one step further in and say we want to be preview. When Microsoft are releasing something, it's out in public preview. You will have the option to play around, touch, see what's going on and so on. And then there will go validation. You had a question? You can monitor with graph. Graphs, you can read out everything. You cannot push comparison now, as I'm aware. Again, I'm not a graph guy, but yeah, fish you can only read. What? Something with graph, pushing information graph. Yeah, but that would be the same that you're just doing a manual proof, right? That would be the same that you're using. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to make your own app that do it and have an interface, so a person only allowed to pick that button. But sorry about the start, and it's always difficult because some just don't care and some other ones. But again, we still need the manufacturers, but look how much Microsoft makes and Microsoft has a lot of effort making sure that app firmware. So now some will laugh because if you've been in the MTR for some years, it has been some up and down. But to be frank now, it stayed. I mean, I can't remember when we really had one that's that we can would definitely. Thank you, and